How many questions are on the CPC exam? Do I need my Hipic book? Are there going to be fill-in-the-blank questions? This and more is what we're going to be covering today on the 2024 CPC Exam Patterns. Hey there, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator, and on my channel, I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. Today's video is sponsored by Preppy, but more on them in just a little bit. The CPC exam is a 100 multiple choice question exam covering 17 different key areas, including things like medical terminology, guidelines, anatomy, compliance, and has slowly changed over the years to keep up with the industry standards. For example, it has decreased in the amount of time and the amount of questions so that it is less a test of endurance while still adequately evaluating your knowledge. So let's talk about what it looks like for 2024. For 2024, there are 100 questions on the CPC exam and you have 4 hours to complete it, which gives you roughly 2.4 minutes per question. So time is of the essence. You need a 70% overall to pass the exam, which means that you need to get 70 questions correct. And that doesn't mean that you have to pass every single section. You could completely get every single E&M question wrong and still have enough questions right in other sections to pass the exam. It's 70% overall. And each question is worth 1 point. So no one singular question is weighted more than others. Now, the best way that you're going to get prepared in order to take the CPC exam or have a great career in medical billing and coding is by signing up for my medical coding masterclass. My free career masterclass tells you everything you need to know to be successful as a medical biller and coder. It talks about the training options, the certifications you want to get so that you will be employable, how you can find affordable training without going into student loan debt, which is by signing up for Preppy, which we talk about in the masterclass. It is like the total roadmap. Like, how do I go from someone who has no healthcare experience to someone who's job ready as a medical biller and coder in as little as 6 months? Definitely check it out. Again, the free career masterclass is at medicalcodingmasterclass.com. Now, the questions on the CPC exam are designed to make sure that you have a good working knowledge of CPT, ICD-10, CM, Hipic, and just general healthcare and revenue cycle type stuff. You'll also encounter 10 case studies, which we'll talk a little bit more about, but case studies that are coding from medical records, like a full record. A lot of people panic and they have a lot of questions about these cases. Specifically, the number one question that comes up is, are these cases going to be fill in the blank? At the time of this recording in 2024, they are not going to have fill in the blank questions for the CPC exam. Now, having said that, they are testing doing that. Means they're doing some beta testing, seeing if we're still getting the same results if we have people do fill in the blank questions versus the multiple choice for those 10 cases. We've also seen the practice exams that are directly through the AAPC convert over to having some fill in the blank cases, which means that we are potentially one step closer to having some fill in the blank questions on the actual exam. Now, there is one AAPC exam that does have some fill in the blank questions, the CIC, or Certified Inpatient Coder examination, which is for inpatient facility coding. So we might see in 2025 perhaps some fill in the blank questions starting to eke their ways into all of the AAPC certification exams, not just the CPC. Again, nothing official is out, but it looks like they are moving in that direction, that there is a possibility, and I would project, maybe 2025 we might see some fill in the blank questions. It's not going to be an overnight thing like, oh, today we're going to be doing multiple choice and you go to the exam center tomorrow and they're like, ha ha ha, fill in the blank questions. It's going to be announced. So pay attention to your emails and all that information. Sign up for AAPC Social Hour. Like, they post that on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, and that's all the AAPC updates. Now, one thing I noticed in the practice exams is they do give partial credit. So they will tell you in the fill in the blank questions, okay, there's going to be 2 CPT codes and 2 ICD-10-CM, so 4 codes total. So if you were to only get 2 of those rights, you would get a 0.5 or a half credit. So we might start seeing some partial credits, some decimal point credit scores for the AAPC exams going forward. So for example, instead of only getting whole number percentages like 82, 83, 84, you might get 82.5 or 82.3. And that's only though if they follow suit with what's already kind of put in place with the practice exams, which It kind of seems like they might. Now here's the full breakdown of everything that's in the exam, the questions. There are 4 questions on medical terminology, 4 on anatomy, 3 compliance and regulatory questions, 7 just on the coding guidelines, 5 ICD-10-CM questions. There are 3 Hipic questions. So a lot of people wonder why their coding schools don't focus a lot on Hipics, or sometimes don't even get them a Hipic book. And that's because the exam has so few questions on it. And honestly, if you know CPT, Hipic is kind of intuitive. It's very similar. And since not everyone in a billing and coding program wants to necessarily go for their CPC, they don't make you get a book. And then if you want to go for your CPC, like that's when you get the Hipic book. So oftentimes to cut costs makes things more broadly available and cater to a wider audience versus just CPCs. They often don't cover a lot of Hipic specific stuff. And even so, there's only 3 Hipic questions on the CPC exam. So you do need a Hipic book. You can bring any edition. It doesn't matter what kind of Hipic book. It has to just be at least current year or previous calendar year. Now in CPT, most of the series of CPT have 6 questions. So there's going to be the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, radiology, path and lab, medicine, and E&M are each going to have 6 questions. And then there's only 4 questions on anesthesia, and then the 10 cases. The cases are a mix of ICD-10-CM and CPT, and they're based off of like a medical record. Like they'll give you a full note and tell you to code all of the codes that are on there. You can skip around to the different sections of the exam. If you want some instructions on how to navigate the exam appropriately, check out this video up here. I'll also link that in the description below. That's the full tutorial of how the practice exam platform works, which now simulates, it looks the same as the actual exam. So make sure you bring your code books, ICD-10-CM, CPT, Hipic. The CPT has to be the AMA edition only. You can bring any available edition you have of ICD-10-CM or Hipic, but they have to be, again, current calendar year or previous calendar year. Right now, they don't allow ebooks for the exam. That might change as well. That's something that they're, again, doing some beta testing of, seeing if, okay, if we have people test on ebooks, let's do that and then compare it to the paper books. Are we still getting the same results? Is this still a fair and accurate portrayal of the exam? But either way, make sure that you're reading through the exam question first and like what are the possible answers, especially with those cases. You want to focus on what are they asking and then kind of look at the note itself. You can skip and return to questions you're not sure about or make the best educated guess if you are not sure, because, you know, if you don't fill something in, you have a 0 in 4 chance. If you do fill something in, you at least have a 1 in 4 chance of it being right. Now for US-based exams, you can take them either live remote proctor or at an exam center. Either way, please make sure you check what you are or are not allowed to bring to the exam. You have to have a government ID, for example, and it has to match what you registered for with your exam, like the exact name. So if your name is in your AAPC account Robert, you can't bring an ID that says Robbie. Like they both have to match. So again, passing score 70% overall, which means you have to get 70 questions right out of those 100 questions. It takes about 7 to 10 business days, they say, to get test results, but most people, I will tell you, are getting them same day within a few hours. But understand that technically the policy is 7 to 10 business days, because sometimes there might be certain instances where they maybe have to investigate and check to make sure that things are okay before just releasing that grade. What happens is you'll get an email that says, hey, check your AAPC account, your exam results are ready. So you can go in there and see all of your results as soon as you get that email. So the email isn't going to tell you passed, you failed. It's going to say, hey, log into your account and look at your results. So I hope this video helped you out. And of course, I will update as there are changes to the exam. So make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get those notifications when new videos come out. Otherwise, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.